Good evening. Welcome to the Upper Gwynedd Board of Commissioners public meeting for December 7th, 2020. With that, if we could all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you for that. Before we do our roll call, just a reminder that you can follow along on the agenda. And again, anything that's in blue on the agenda that's posted on the website can be clicked upon to gather more information about those items being discussed. So if you want to follow along that way, that's terrific. With that, I'll turn it over to Deanna for the roll call.
Liz McNaney, President.
Here.
Denise Hall, Vice President.
Here.
Martha Similaro, Commissioner.
Here.
Catherine Carter, Commissioner.
Here.
Ruth Damsker, Commissioner.
Here.
Sandra Zadell, Township Manager.
Here.
Lauren Gallagher, Township Solicitor.
Here.
Megan Weaver, Assistant Township Manager.
Here.
Owen Hine, Township Engineer.
Here.
David Duffy, Chief of Police.
Here.
Evan Reeker, Zoning Officer.
Here.
That's everyone.
Thank you, Deanna. Next is item number 4 on the agenda, and it's the announcement of our executive session, and I'll turn it over to our solicitor, Ms. Gallagher.
Thank you, President McNaney. The board did meet in executive session on November 30th to discuss matters of personnel and potential litigation.
Thank you. Number 5 is public comments and concerns. Do we have any callers in that would like to speak tonight?
There is no public comment.
Thank you. Moving right along, I'll turn it over to item number 6 to our manager, Sandra Zadell. Good evening.
I have an all fun, all the time managers report right now. It is all about park and rec stuff that we're doing right now in our virtual world, because I know it can be a little harder to connect. So I wanted to mention my personal favorite thing that Park and Rec is doing right now has to do with our township gnome. Has anyone seen it today? We have a little gnome and he's out of his quarantine time. He's got his little mask. He's going to be very safely traveling around town and he needs a name. So our residents, we're taking nominations on Instagram and Facebook, and he'll be showing up all over town and he really needs a name. He's so cute and he's sort of going to be our mascot. So I think it'll be a fun thing to do through the Park and Rec department to help everyone still feel connected, even though we're doing a lot of things virtually. Also, the Park and Rec department's offering free Zumba classes online virtually, which should be a lot of fun. I'm going to try to do one of them and then everyone can laugh at the township manager and how I'm like always going in the wrong direction, up and down. And then lastly, we have some great online environmental programming this week. On December 9th, we have a really cool program about woodlands or backyard creatures, like what's living in your backyard, put on by Natural Lands Trust. So Park and Rec, as usual, is trying to help our community stay connected with great programming, even though we are operating virtually. So I really just wanted to point that out. The township is open and operating just by appointment only. So if residents need anything, you can still reach us all the time. Just need to call, make an appointment. And we have our vestibule open for picking up permits, dropping things off, and we'll make it work. So I think the phone is the best way to reach us right now if you have any questions or concerns. So that's my report.
Thank you. I think the gnome should be named something like COVID. No?
No,
It's
I don't know if I'm a judge, but I think I might be because I'm the township manager. I hope I get to be a judge, but I would vote against the name being COVID. I want him to have like the happiest name. There's already some really cool entries on Facebook, but place your entries. There's a lot of options.
So I did see the picture of the gnome. Are you sure it's a he? Because you keep saying he.
Oh, I mean, I guess she could be a she, but I think he's a guy. I mean, I think he has a beard. I don't think you can see it under the mask, but I'm pretty sure his beard indicates that he's a guy. Yeah.
Okay. We need more then.
Yeah. So-
Okay, thank you, Sandra. Next is our planning and zoning. Hi, Van. Do you have a report for us tonight?
Thank you, Liz. Three things, same three items you've seen now for a couple months. However, we do have movement. So they are as follows. CHP 2720-07. They have met with the neighbors and reported back to the township that they are ready to submit a plan for evaluation by the Plan Review Committee. So we'll be looking at that in 2 weeks. Staff and administration will have comments, and perhaps in a 30 or so 40 days, there'll be a recommendation back to the commissioners on how to proceed. You'll remember this was originally part of the overlay, and it evolved into a trip to the zoning hearing board. Before going to the zoning hearing board, they wanted to meet with the neighbors. They have done so, and they're about to unveil the plan, which would be residential in nature for the Jeppy property, which is about 2.5 acres of land in Town Pike. 593 Decal Pike, you might remember that's Tesla at Wawa. Things seem to be moving along pretty good, but there's a bump. And the bump is that, unbeknownst to me and perhaps Isaac and RVE, they have modified the plans in such a way that, I don't want to go into all the details at the moment, but it has tripped the need, or it violates the zoning code dimensionally. They hadn't asked for any variances. When you saw this, it was a conditional use. It was permitted pursuant to a conditional use. You had the hearings twice, two separate evenings. You granted approval based on those exhibits. Those exhibits have changed, not dramatically, but enough that they now need a dimensional variance, and they're now deciding what to do. So rather than go through the details tonight, let's see where they come back. It does raise the interesting sort of scenario. This will also be a Plan Review Committee agenda item. If you would add that also, Megan, next week, because it raises the question of whether or not, if the exhibits change in such a way that it triggers a need for a relief dimensionally from the zoning hearing board, does it change the exhibits in such a way that they should be reconsidered by the Board of Commissioners? I don't know. I have an answer. I don't have an answer for that at the moment. I think that I would like to hear from the Plan Review Committee, which includes 2 of the commissioners, as you know, and staff, and Lauren, and we'll talk about it. So they were given fair warning on the exhibits and the plans they needed to provide, and they followed those in great detail until they chose to change them. So unfortunately, at the moment, I can only tell you that it's not moving forward, it's moving sideways. That's 593 Decal Pike. Questions on that one while we're there? From anyone?
Dan,
Yes, Ruth.
when you talk about dimension, are you saying that they want more or less charging stations? I'm not sure what you mean by what they.
It's the same everything. It's still 8 charging stations. It's still the cabinet. It's still what you saw last time, except that it slid down the row from to a position where it's closer to Welsh Road. It went from the Decal Pike 202 side of this that parking area, and in so moving, it violates a front yard setback. You would say, how could that happen? Well, it's a principal use. That's why they became a conditional use for you to consider in the first place. And when they did that, they didn't tell anybody. They just sort of, I think they had an engineering conference or 2, plans changed. When I asked to see them for the UNO, it just came in a few days ago. They were flagged. They know that there's a problem. So when they slid it in such a way that the stations, the cabinet and the charging stations now are in the front yard setback from Welsh Road. They were not previously in the front yard setback. They weren't in any front yard setback. They were dimensionally compliant, subject to the conditional use. Lauren had reviewed that with you in great detail. And I didn't want to go through that again tonight, but it does raise this double specter of trip to the ZHB. To my knowledge, unless Lauren sees it differently, the commissioners are not in a position to grant a dimensional relief. Lauren, some solicitors think they are. I don't share that vision, but you're the solicitor, so.
So there are certain times where the code will give the commissioners some sort of discretion, like we saw that in the Better Living Homes context, where there's some provision in the code. But unless there's something specific, the body that has the ability to grant waivers and relief from some of the provisions of the zoning code is the zoning hearing board.
Right. So thank you. So that's how we see it as well, and thought you would agree. And so unfortunately, this seemed to be positive for Wawa and for those of the residents in Upper Gwynedd and nearby that own and operate a Tesla. You remember, and I don't want to spend this much time, but just for those that are listening, and I know the commissioners do remember this, that had they agreed to have at least some percentage of the charging stations available to all or to other hybrid or electric automobile products, it would have been a different, it could have been an accessory use as under a Wawa, under the Wawa envelope. But they said they were not willing to do that. They wanted to serve and provide charging stations only to Tesla vehicles. So I determined that that meant that they were a separate and discrete use, and that you, the commissioners, need to evaluate that. You have. And the plans were drawn in great detail, seemed to be fully compliant, apart from the testimony, which they submitted for your consideration, including, you might remember, a rather detailed exhibit booklet. That exhibit booklet has changed. And so I'm not in a position to allow that plan to proceed until they either go back to where they were, or we'll talk about it next time. So that's kind of where we are on that. Additional questions. I know this is not usual. This is kind of an unusual scenario, but anything else from a board member? Okay. Then finally, Roosevelt Court, that is the one thing that's moving forward. There's nothing new to report other than Lauren has approved, and the applicant has paid for a notice to run in the paper. You'll remember it's an opinion from the zoning officer that clears the way for a validity or for a challenge on process. That the first ad ran last Tuesday, and so the second notice in the paper runs tomorrow at the completion of 30 days from either the first or second notice, Lauren. They then have cleared the hurdle, and I think then shortly thereafter, they will file a land development plan, which will be processed through the normal way through administration and the consultants, and you'll all be seeing it perhaps in 4 or 5 months.
Right.
Are
So
there
preliminary,
questions on?
the preliminary opinion advances the time where anyone can file a challenge to the ordinances or to the fact that these properties were rezoned to the R2, I believe it was. And so that time clock starts to run with the second advertisement. So it's a 30-day time clock.
It's an R3 application. So
R3.
that's where we are on those 3 items. There'll be more to report. I have a feeling there's more coming in zoning wise, but at the moment, those are the 3 items for our consideration through the next month or so. Are there questions from any of you? Thank you. I'll turn it back to Liz.
All right, thanks, Dan, for that information. All right, next on the agenda, item number 8. Isaac's not with us tonight, so we welcome Owen.
Yes, thank you, Liz. I'll touch on a couple projects we're working on right now. So Haynes Run Stream Bank improvements. Some work has already been done around the sewer treatment plant to improve the berm that kind of protects against floodwaters coming into the plant. So that work's actually already been completed. Now the kind of longer term phase is we're looking into upstream areas to install some basins for volume control that are really going to provide a more significant protection against flooding. We'll also be looking at property boundaries and grant opportunities to potentially fund that. So we've been pretty successful at getting grants in the past, and that's something we try to find for projects like this. So in addition, the road program, so Remington's looking at locations, curb ramps, and roads for inclusion in next year's project. And as I understand, I think later on the agenda, we'll be looking for authorization to advertise. So I think that's coming up in January. So North Wales Road trail crossing improvements. This is something that Remington's working on. I think we've already surveyed it. We're into design now, going to be working with Public Works on that, and going to make sure that this is kind of set and ready to go ahead of any paving of Moyer Road, which is, there's some paving that's planned for 2021 for that. So I think that's the update that I've got.
Thank you for that update. And thanks for joining us tonight. Moving right along, number 9 on the agenda is a motion to approve the department reports filed by the township staff. We've all gotten a copy of these, had a chance to review them. Was there any public comment on any of them? Or first we need a board comment on any of them? No? So do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
I'm going to go with Ruth on that one. We have a motion by Commissioner Dansker. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second. Is there any public comment on the reports, departmental reports?
No public comment.
Thank you. Any additional? No? Board, you didn't think of any in the last 10 seconds when I asked you before? No? All right, hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The ayes still have it. Next on the agenda, item number 10 is a motion to authorize our solicitor, Ms. Gallagher, to sign on behalf of the township the assessment appeal stipulation agreement between North Penn School District and the Willowick Real Estate Fund. This is something that happens every now and then, right, Sandra, with these, and Lauren, with these types of things. Did you have, Sandra or Lauren, did you want to add anything to this before we make a motion?
Sure. These come to the board from time to time. They are appeals of tax assessments for various properties throughout the township. The school district, which has the lion's share of the tax dollars in the township, typically handles the negotiations. So this has been reviewed and recommended for approval from the school district. So we would recommend approving this tonight.
Okay, thank you. So with that, do we have a motion to authorize?
I'll make a motion to authorize.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second by, I think I heard Martha. I saw Catherine, but I heard Martha. So we're seconded by Commissioner Similero. Any public comment on that?
No public comment.
Thank you. Additional board comment? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The ayes still have it. Next on the agenda is item number 11. It's a motion to approve the revised employee handbook, the holiday policy effective January 1st, 2021. It's getting rid of, not getting rid of, but we won't be just going to get rid of it. Columbus Day holiday, and it will become a floating holiday for employees. In the memo that's attached to item number 11, it explains how the employees can use it. We just thought this was just kind of updating the holiday policy by getting rid of not getting rid of, by having Columbus Day optional. So with that, do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
We have a second. Is there any public comment?
No public comment.
The public, thank you. Is there any additional board comments? No? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes still have it.
And Catherine, I think you were just still muted when that was voted on.
Okay,
Aye.
I saw the hand. All right.
Sorry, my puppies are around. If I don't keep it on mute, you're gonna hear my puppies.
Could be worse, Catherine, right? So with that, I'll turn it over now for the next few items on the agenda to Commissioner Hull.
Thank you, Commissioner McNaney. The first item that I have tonight is Merck is requesting some extended hours, some extended work hours. They want to do some cleaning operations, and this generates, they need a long weekend to do it, possibly 2. So they're asking for possibly 2 in January. This does sometimes generate noise, but the equipment that they're utilizing specifically absorbs that noise. And we have 2 buildings that will muffle it as well. They did a similar cleaning process in October and there were no noise issues. So we're encouraged by that. I would like to make a motion to approve the Merck & Company waiver request from Chapter 113-1 and 124-5 for extended work hours for Gate 3 utility rack installation project. 1 long weekend only, January 15th through the 17th of 2021, or January 23rd through the 25th of 2021.
We have a motion. Do we to approve? Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second. Is there any public comment on this item?
No public comment.
Thank you. Is there any additional board comment? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I think I heard Catherine on that one. Just didn't see her. Okay. Opposed?
Aye.
The ayes still have it.
Next up, as COVID continues to drag on, we need to extend our guidelines and policies for outdoor dining. We are extending them until June 7th. So hopefully everybody can bundle up and still patronize our local restaurants when the numbers go back down again. So I would like to make a motion to approve Resolution 37-2020, extending the guidelines and policy for outdoor dining until June 7th of 2021.
So we have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Is there any public comment?
No public comment.
Thank you. Any additional board comments? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes still have it. Thank you, Commissioner Holt. Next on the agenda, I'll turn it over to Commissioner Carter.
We have a motion to ratify and approve the emergency declarations dated November 30th and December 7th.
So we have a motion to approve, to ratify and approve the emergency declaration. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second. Is there any public comment?
No public comment.
Thank you. Any additional board comments? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes still have it.
Aye. I don't think I actually voted. I'm sorry. Aye.
Aye. Okay. There's Ruth's vote. Ruth, why don't you just stay with us then?
Okay.
And I'll turn it over to you for your
Okay. For Public Works, I have a motion to authorize the advertisement of the 2021 roads program and the ADA ramps. And you heard that Owen mentioned that they were putting those plans together.
Okay. So we have a motion to authorize the advertisement. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Sorry.
I'll give that one to Martha. Is there any public comment?
No public comment.
Thank you. Any additional board comment? Hearing none.
Actually, I just would like, because I don't have anything to bring up for Parks and Rec, but I just wanted to thank the staff at Parks and Recs for the lights, and I hope people have noticed our holiday lights that are on across the street from the Township building. And they worked along with some of the staff from Public Works and got those lights up. We're not having any events, but there was a decision because of the COVID, but we do have the Christmas lights up. So I want to thank all those who put it together.
Yes. All in favor? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. I think.
Thank you. Yes, thanks to all of them.
I think that we did not get a complete board vote. Is that right, Deanna, on the advertisement? So all in favor of that for the roads program?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Opposed? The ayes still have it. And yes, Ruth, I saw them out there working and setting things up, and it's nice to drive by and see a little bit of normalcy out there.
Yeah.
So,
Right now, and like I said, they worked really the guys from Public Works as well as Parks and Recs, because unfortunately some of the staff had to be quarantined. So everybody worked to get them up and out, and I think they look great. Like you said, it's a real uplifting when you pass us in the night at night. So it looks nice.
yes, it does. Thank you, Ruth. And next on the agenda is wastewater treatment plant. So I'll turn it over to Commissioner Similaro.
Thank you. The first motion is to approve payment number 13 to Pact 1 for the pump station and force main project in the amount of $725,618.40. And this will be by a roll call vote.
So we have a motion. Do we have we don't have to second it. Well, we do have to second it, then a roll call.
Second it.
So we have a second by Commissioner Danster, and then we'll do our roll call vote.
President McNaney,
Aye.
Vice President Hall,
Aye.
Commissioner Similaro,
Aye.
Commissioner Carter,
Aye.
Commissioner Damsker,
Aye.
That's everybody. Thank you. The ayes still have it.
The next motion is to approve payment number 20 to Blooming Glen for the hydraulic expansion project in the amount of $60,276.12.
So we
This is
have
also by a roll call vote.
So we have a motion to approve the payment. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
We have a second. Roll call vote.
President McNaney,
Aye.
Vice President Hall,
Aye.
Commissioner Similaro,
Aye.
Commissioner Carter,
Aye.
Commissioner Damsker,
Aye.
Thank you, Deanna. The ayes still have it. Moving along.
The next motion is to approve payment number 13 to Eastern Environmental Contractors for the hydraulic expansion project in the amount of $30,078.53.
So we have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second by Commissioner Carter, I believe. Without a roll call vote, Deanna?
Yeah, yes, it's a roll call vote.
President McNaney,
Aye.
Vice President Hall,
Aye.
Commissioner Similaro,
Aye.
Commissioner Carter,
Aye.
Commissioner Damsker,
Aye.
The ayes still have it. Thank you, Deanna.
The last motion is to approve payment number 5 to BSI for the pump stations, which is the electrical part, in the amount of $39,781. And this will also be by a roll call vote.
So we have a motion. Do we have a second? A motion to approve. Do we have a second?
I second.
I'll second.
I don't know about that one, but we got one, right, Deanna? You got one. All right. So with that, we'll need a roll call vote.
President McNaney,
Aye.
Vice President Hall,
Aye.
Commissioner Similaro,
Aye.
Commissioner Carter,
Aye.
Commissioner Damsker.
Aye.
Yeah, I still have it. Thank you, Deanna. And with that, do we have, before we close out tonight's meeting, do we have any additional comments from anybody? Commissioner Hall.
Just a quick reminder for Toys for Tots that our police department is collecting. I had a friend of mine who's a resident ask because she hadn't seen as much publicity about it. So I said, oh yes, don't forget everybody. Please drop off those toys at our police station. That's it.
Thank you for that. It's we're actually overflowing at the station with stuff, so but we have room, so
Oh,
keep it
good.
coming. Thank you. Yep.
Thank you for that reminder, Commissioner Hall. Chief Duffy, did you have anything that you wanted to ask tonight? No? Maybe?
There we go. No, I thank you for Commissioner Hall reminding everyone of that. Just that as everything is locking down a bit again, the police department remains open 24/7. However, people who come to the lobby, we may talk to you through the glass instead of coming out to see you. And we're handling some more calls by phone as we did earlier this year. But we're still at your service anytime you need us. And just a reminder to call 911. It's the easiest way to get hold of us.
Okay. Thank you, Chief Duffy. Stay safe. Since we have nothing else, nobody? Okay, so with that, meeting adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank